The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to another episode of Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host. And today we're going to be talking about electricity and consumer products that many people are not necessarily aware of. And today I have a guest, Amanda Noonan from the PUC, and it's with customer service.
Consumer Services and External Affairs.
Consumer Services and External Affairs. And thank you for coming on the show.
Sure.
I had recently talked with you after coming out of Gel Car. It's where we talk about the rules that organizations have to abide by. You know, we pass legislation, we have to develop those rules, and those rules get adopted, and they have the force and effect of law. And we were talking about the people that knock on your door, and they say, hey, I can lower your energy rates. And they have no idea what's going on. And we were talking about the soft sell and basically the enrollments. And there's a lot of confusion out there. And I thought if you came on the show to talk about what's available, what consumers should do when it comes to buying their energy or their electricity, or you know, what's some advice? And so thanks for coming on the show. And one of the problems that you're running into out there is the confusion.
Yes, I'd say that even though for 5 years, customers have had the ability to choose who they get their energy supply, or electric energy supply from, most customers still don't really understand what that means. And they look at their bill, they pay their bill. They don't really pay attention to the components on their bill. And so there's two main sections of your electric bill if you take a look at it the next time you get it. There's the delivery piece, which is the poles and wires and the delivery of the product, the electric service, to your house. And that's and always will be your utility company, Eversource, Liberty Utilities, Unitil, or New Hampshire Electric Cooperative. The other piece, the energy supply piece, is where customers have the opportunity to choose a competitive supplier if they want to, for a lower price, for a green energy product, or something else.
So we don't have to choose Liberty or Eversource. There are legitimate other companies out there that can provide energy at a lower cost.
They can provide energy to customers. It may or may not be at a lower cost. And so customers always need to keep that in mind and do their homework before they sign up for anything, whether it's someone knocking at the door, someone on the phone, or someone sending them something in the mail saying, hey, we can save you money. Always do your homework first to make sure you know whether that's true or not.
And how do they research? Somebody's a senior at home, they don't have access to a computer, and somebody knocks on their door. Hi, I'm with so-and-so company, and I think we can help you save some money on your energy. You're on a fixed income, maybe we can lower some of your electric bills. Sign here, and we can lower your rates by such and such amount. Is that allowed?
Yes. Suppliers can do that. They can do door-to-door marketing. They can do exactly what you described. But as a consumer, we have to be more educated and we have to be a little bit more wary about these people at the door and make sure we understand what we're signing up for. So if you as a customer don't know what you're paying for your energy supply, you could go get your electric bill if you wanted to, or you could say, gee, thanks, why don't you leave me some information and a number to call you back at?
But
And
there's a time
stand
constraint.
firm with that.
And if they say, well, there's a time constraint, there's an offer, a one-time offer or a 10-day window.
We've never seen any one-time offers.
Okay.
You know, typically rates change, and well, back to the first part, if they don't have access to a computer, then they can politely decline, or they can go look at their electric bill and then ask questions about what the rate is or the price is of the product that this person at the door is selling. But I think it's better for them, if they're not familiar with what's going on, to just politely decline and don't feel like you're being rude. Just send these people on their way, and then pick up the phone and call the commission and ask for the Consumer Services Division and ask who these people are. Because suppliers have to register in the state of New Hampshire, and the commission registers all these suppliers. They're all listed on our website, so people with access to a computer can go to our website. They can see the list of registered suppliers. They can also look at a comparison shopping webpage that we have on our site that shows by utility. You go in, you select residential, small commercial, whichever you are, your utility, and then you can see all the price and product offerings available to you.
How many suppliers are out there?
There are, for residential customers, about 23 registered suppliers. I took a look this afternoon before I came here, and if you're an Eversource customer, there are about 38 to 39 different products and prices available to you.
And prices range from?
So the low price was 7.8 cents. The high price was almost 13 cents. Eversource's energy service price, if you buy from the utility, is 11.66 cents. So you as a consumer have to know what you're paying and what you would be paying if you made these choices.
So 7 cents, 11 cents of what?
Per kilowatt hour.
Per kilowatt hour.
So if you think of, if you don't know how much electricity you use, you can look at your electric bill. You can also call your electric company and ask for your usage information. Typically, or the average, I shouldn't say typical, the average usage is about between 700 and 800 kilowatt hours. That's an average. So is there an average person out there? Maybe. I sadly use much more than that each month with kids at home and a husband that works out of the house, so we've got a lot going all the time. But other people use a lot less than the 700 to 800 kilowatt hours. So if you could save 2 cents a kilowatt hour, so I'm an Eversource customer, 11.66 cents. If I found a rate of 9.5 cents, I'd be saving almost a little more than 2 cents a kilowatt hour. On, if it was a 700 kilowatt hour bill, that's $14 a month. Times 12 months, it starts to add up.
When you're on a fixed income, those are real dollars.
Yep.
And so I think there are 4 that are considered default.
Yes. So Eversource, which serves the most customers in the state, Liberty Utilities, Unitil Energy Services, and New Hampshire Electric Cooperative, which is more towards the northern and seacoast part of the state. And those all have a default service offering, an energy supply offering for their customers. It's just a straight pass-through of their costs. Suppliers, that's their product. They're going to build in a profit to their cost,
Sure.
but they still want to try to compete, or you wouldn't knowingly make a choice to change to their service.
And I think that's something that my light bulb went off. I'm chair of energy, and I'm listening, and I'm trying to learn as much about transmission, about distribution, about generation, about RPS, about all these definitions, PUC, and on and on and on. And then somebody talks about, well, these are the default companies, and you don't have to necessarily get your energy from the default companies.
Right.
And my light bulb went off. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm paying such and such a rate. Now, I'm not, if I don't go with the default company, will I get punished somehow? If the power goes out, will they still be there? I mean, if we have a hurricane or an ice storm and all the lines go down, well, are they going to be as good as Eversource or Liberty? Well, the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Those competitive providers only supply the electricity you use in your home. The poles and the wires that deliver that power to your house are still your utility company. You will still be their customer. So if a tree comes down, knocks the wires down, it's your utility company that rolls the trucks to restore the service.
And they do get paid for that.
Yes.
And it doesn't, even if you're not buying their electricity,
That's right.
they have on the transmission, they get some money for that, and on the distribution, which are the lower lines, the lower power lines, they get money for fixing and repairing those. So that has nothing to do with you if you choose to have another carrier. That is a revelation.
Yes, that's why those two pieces to your bill are really important to understand what they're for.
Interesting. And maybe some people don't understand that the PUC is a place to register complaints. If there's a place to, if you have a problem, that's where you go to register. And PUC stands for?
Public Utilities Commission, right? And so those four companies I talked about, Eversource, Liberty Utilities, Unitil Energy Systems, and New Hampshire Electric Cooperative are the traditional public utilities. New Hampshire Electric Cooperative is a rural electric cooperative, so they have a little bit different form of regulation, but those folks are pretty much fully regulated. The suppliers, it's a competitive market, so there's less oversight, there's no price or rate regulation. What they charge is what they charge, which is why customers need to be educated. They need to find out what it is that they would pay. Is it variable or is it fixed? And if it's fixed, how long is it fixed for?
So meaning fixed is, well, this price is going to be fixed for 3 months, 6 months, a year. Yes. If it's variable, it can go from 7 cents to 15 cents.
To 30 cents.
And so you take on that risk.
That's right.
And hopefully the track record of that company has been able to buy at a lower rate. Is it possible for somebody, for there to be, say, in a condo complex, say 3 stories with 50 units, that there'd be 5 or 6 different people providing electricity to that one?
Yes. Yes, because remember, the poles and wires are all your utility company. And really all the energy supplier is doing is looking at all the customers it has signed up and calculating what its load is. How many kilowatt hours of electricity is it responsible for? And it puts that load out onto the grid, the New England grid, and the electrons flow. It doesn't, you can't say that the electrons from this company are going to go to your house. They just all go out on the grid and they all flow out and get used by all of us. So yeah, if you had 50 apartments, you could have 50, well, we don't have 50 suppliers, but you could have
at least 20.
Yeah.
At least 20 different people providing to each. And so it is important that if you want to save, you do your homework, look at the contracts. Obviously, if somebody knocks on your door, give me time to think about it.
Yes.
What if you wanted to get out of a contract because of complaints? Well, I'm not getting the electricity I thought or the rate I thought.
So I think that's part of looking at the contract before you sign it. And it's a little tricky sometimes to look at the contract before you sign it, but you have a rescission period, just like when you take out a mortgage, to read all that fine print and decide whether you're going to accept it or not. And so if you go online and enroll that way, if you answer a call on the phone and enroll that way, if you send something in the mail, if you have someone come to your door and you choose to enroll that way, the supplier has to provide you with the terms and conditions of service. And they can email it to you, or they can put it in U.S. postal mail. And you have a 5-day or a 6-day period of time, business days, to rescind that agreement from either the date of your email or the postmark date on the envelope. So 5 days would be for email, 6 days would be for U.S. mail to allow delivery time.
Is this part of the discussion that we had in the rules?
Yes.
And we wanted to give more time for the consumer, but that puts if the more time that you do give the consumer, it puts a difficult.
It's definitely
It's
a
a balancing.
balance because if you signed up with a competitive supplier and you were going to save 3 cents or 2 cents or even 1 cent, you wouldn't see that new rate for about 2 months because let's say my meter gets read on the first of each month and I call supplier tomorrow and I enroll and sign up. I'll get switched. My energy supply will get switched to that supplier on my meter read date so that the utility knows how many kilowatt hours of usage, or the supplier knows how many kilowatt hours of usage to bill me for. But we get billed in arrears for our usage. So I use electricity all month, and on the 1st of October, they're going to read my meter and they're going to bill me for September. And that will be at my utility energy service rate, or if I had another competitive supplier, at their energy service rate. On November 1st, when they read my meter and that bill goes out, I will be billed for the new supplier.
For the previous month.
For the previous month. So there's, at this point, I'd be looking at a 45-ish day delay before I saw that new rate. So when you give people a little bit longer rescission period to read the fine print, make sure they understand what they signed up for, you could be bumping that out a little bit further. And so it is a balance.
And so trying to protect the consumer and the provider at the same time is a difficult balancing act. But it's important for the consumer to know that those options are there. You know, I made a mistake.
Yep.
I could get it for 7 cents instead of 9 cents or 10 cents. Is it worth it to change for 1 cent?
I think that's a personal decision. You know, people will call my team and say, I don't know what to do. Tell me who to pick. And we say, that's up to you. Are you risk averse? Are you comfortable tracking and monitoring what you're paying, when your contract might expire, staying on top of that?
Now, the regulated facilities, are they generally pretty stable with their rates?
So their rates change twice a year, and winter rates are always higher than summer rates because the majority of our electricity is produced from natural gas powered generation plants. And in the wintertime, natural gas is much more expensive because the gas utilities in New Hampshire have a firm contract for that gas to provide heat customers with the gas to heat their homes. And so the generation plants that use natural gas to power their turbines pay a higher price because there's more demand for the natural gas and less of the resource. You know, it's a basic economic demand and supply and demand. In the summertime, people aren't heating their homes with natural gas. It's plentiful in the pipeline, and so the price of electricity is lower on a wholesale level and on a retail level. So people can, customers can, again, look at their bills, or they can ask their utility, or they can call the Public Utilities Commission and we can tell them what it's been over the past few years, summer to winter, to see whether a 12-month rate from a supplier at 8 cents would save them, or would have saved them if their winter price was 8.5 cents and their summer price was 7.5 cents.
And where can we find these prices?
Prices for the utilities? Yep, you can call your utility, you can look at your past utility bills, or you can call the commission and we can give you a history. And then you could compare based on what those prices were, would you have saved? You don't know what they're going to be in the next 12 months, but it gives you an indication of whether you would have saved.
And this is an interesting thing because we're hearing a lot, you know, we're trying to reduce taxes on the legislator, and we're trying to take the burden back off the people to some degree. And of course, we talk about energy prices and how that, you know, we've got to do something about that. Here's a small piece of the puzzle to at least, you know, take a step forward to lowering your bill, if you can find a company that will provide it. There's another thing that a lot what people are talking about, and I think we'll have Don Kreis and a few other people to talk about energy efficiency.
Yes.
It really is a way to lower the demand. And if you make that investment in your home, you over the long haul will have a good return.
Yes. Absolutely. Those two things can go hand in hand. You can undertake energy efficiency improvements in your home, and you will save year after year after year, regardless of what you pay for your energy service, because you've reduced your demand.
When you're looking at that, are there consultants out there to help you with your own personal home's energy efficiency? Should I go with those fluorescent light bulbs, or should I go with those LED lights? Not LED.
LED.
LED. Yeah. LED. Which one's better? Which one's more environmentally, appropriate? When both go into the dump, which one's going to be more of a hazard? Which one's more cost effective? I know in our house we have LED. It's, it works for us. But do you help with? Are there consultants out there that help with this?
So the utilities all have a number of energy efficiency programs called the Core Energy Efficiency Programs, and they've put together a website called New Hampshire Saves that will walk people through all the various measures that they can implement through these energy efficiency programs offered by their utilities. As far as the choice between a compact fluorescent and an LED, I think people kind of have to do their own research as to what they think. We all have, I think, a different filter on what our environmental compass is and whether we think a CFL is more environmentally beneficial than an LED. And there are people that still want their incandescent bulbs, but they can't get them anymore. So everybody, I think, has to make their own decision on that and what's better for the environment, what fits their lifestyle better, what type of light do you like. These are really personal decisions, I think.
Now, there are organizations out there that want to, even in condo associations, I found this out, that they want to put solar panels on your roof. And they're claiming that that'll lower your energy rates over a number of years, but is that always the case?
So there's a couple different answers, I guess, to that question. So from the big picture answer, the installation of solar and other renewable energy resources in New Hampshire reduces our overall demand. Yes. And it reduces our need for transmission, the high power lines that run through the state. It levels out that demand and that demand on the transmission system. So as New England is a regional transmission grid, and so if we can reduce our demand, we reduce our allocated share of transmission costs. So there's that big picture benefit for everyone in the state. And if you install a renewable like PV on your roof and you net meter, you have a financial benefit on your bill as well. And you've reduced what you're purchasing from the utility. So
there's a lot
different
of information
layers. Yes.
And I think it's important. We're going to probably have a series of conversations with other aspects where we'll have people come in and talk about transmission and distribution and generation. And I think it's important for the public to start getting a handle on what there are so many people that have a lot of input into our energy, our resources, and our infrastructure. And it's important for the people to understand how it works. And everybody's looking for the silver bullet to lower energy costs, make it more environmentally friendly at the same time. And we got to get everybody on the same page because there's a lot of information out there, and I'm not sure that it's all correct. There's a lot of passion too with some of the from all different angles out there. And I think we can get lost in the weeds, but I think it's really important for people that are on fixed incomes to know that there are options. And don't be hoodwinked by by the first person that comes at your door. Or if somebody says, hey, listen, I got this multi-level marketing thing that you can make a lot of money, and going out and start hustling on people, you've got to be careful.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand. You mentioned it earlier, one-time only deal. We haven't seen any one-time only deals. People have the benefit of time to do some research, find out what they're paying now, find out what offers are out there. The person that knocks at your door might not be the best offer for you.
They don't necessarily represent the utilities.
They do not represent the utilities. If someone comes to your door, and I think that's a really important thing, if somebody comes to your door and says, I'm from your utility company, I can save you money, show me your bill, your utility doesn't do that.
Right.
They come to your house to read your meter. They might come to change out your meter, restore service. They don't knock on your door saying, show me your bill and I can save you money.
Right. And I think that's the deceptive part
Yes.
that I think has happened a time or two. And I think people need to be aware of that.
I agree. I think it's, deception or confusion. It's hard to tell when you're not there listening to the conversation.
Right.
Suppliers are required to make clear they're not affiliated with the utility. Does that statement confuse customers? It shouldn't, but sometimes elderly people don't understand what this is anyway. It might be a little confusing as to who's at their door.
How do people get in touch with the PUC if they have questions?
Sure, they can. We have a toll-free number in New Hampshire. It's 1-800-852-3793. They can go to our website. They can file a complaint online. They can also, if they have access to the website, we have a whole site. We have the comparison shopping page that I mentioned with all the suppliers, the products, and the pricing, as well as a FAQ about how this all works, what this
FAQ.
is all about, frequently asked questions for energy supply, and a checklist. If you want to choose a competitive supplier, what should you think about first? What questions should you ask the supplier before you sign on the dotted line?
I'm very grateful that you came onto the show, and I told you it'd go quick, didn't it?
It did,
It
yes,
did.
indeed.
So if you have questions, if you want to learn more, contact the PUC, and we're going to have some more shows on energy, and stay tuned. Until next week, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.